So I'm just gonna kick it off. If we could just start maybe with you giving a quick intro of Mercado Libre, like how would you describe the business, the scale that you're experiencing, sort of your presence around the world? I think that would be a great place to start.
Great, great. So Mercado Libre is a commerce and fintech business in Latin America. Well, our fintech arm is called Mercado Pago, but it's part of the same company. We operate in 18 countries in all Latin America. Our main operations are Brazil, Mexico, and Argentina. Our mission is to democratize commerce and financial services in Latin America. And we are a pretty big company, so I'm not sure about the exact market cap right now, but it's around 90 billion. And our last quarter, we had $20 billion in GMV, that is gross merchandise volume. That is the whole merchandise that was sold in our commerce business. We have more than 80 million buyers, and we have a very fast logistics network. 3 out of 4 of our deliveries were delivered in less than 48 hours. So in 2 days, we deliver 3 out of 4 of our deliveries. And on our fintech side, we also have a little bit less than 80 million active users. We have 80 billion or a little bit more in total payment volume. That is the payments that go through our network, and more than 20 billion in AUM. So we are a pretty big company. A fact that I love is that we are the only public company in the world that grew revenues more than 30% in the last 7 years. We are pretty unique. I think that there are 80,000 public companies in the world, and we are the only one that grew revenues at that pace.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. This was one of the
Unbelievable.
kind of
I couldn't
areas.
believe it when I saw it, to be honest.
Yeah, when we first met the team, I was like, "Oh wow, this is a monster." So, can you tell us a little bit about like what exactly is your role? What is
Yeah,
the
of course.
organization that you run?
I am a VP of customer experience, and my role, I like to describe it in 3 parts. I have the customer service operation. That is, we can call it a call center all around Latin America. We serve all the products, all the countries from different locations. Then I have a part that we call experience management, that is more on the analytic side, NPS, customer journeys, if you will, all the continuous improvement side of the role. And then I have another part that is product development. So I have engineers and a tech team that develop for example, the bots that we probably will talk about, and also our CRM, that is a proprietary CRM, also bug management tools, and different tools that enhance the experience of the user.
And so customer experience at your scale is obviously quite complex, and it's also across different countries. How would you define like what success looks like for a customer experience, and what are the sort of the goals that your organization is working towards?
So I'm an engineer by training, not an engineer like a systems engineer, but so I like metrics. I would say that success is being the best in relational NPS. I think it's we measure our NPS compared to the other players in the market, in commerce and in fintech. We measure it with an external partner, and we call it competitive NPS, but it's basically relational NPS. And success for me is being the best in all the countries, in all the products. So, and that requires a lot of things that are tied to my team. For example, all the feedback loops that make our product better come mostly through my team, and that makes us improve in NPS. Having an excellent CSAT when someone has a problem and contacts us, and turning around that experience and making him a promoter makes a lot of difference. And also, I think it's not so visible, but scaling correctly, because at our scale, I mean, we could be the best in NPS in a non-sustainable way if I would give money to every customer, let's say, but that wouldn't be sustainable. So doing this in a scalable way is also super important.
Yeah, makes total sense, and obviously something we think about a lot as well. And then within customer experience, of course, a very hot topic is AI transformation. Of course, that's what we do, and sort of not just your business, businesses around the world are very excited or just talking a lot about AI transformation. What exactly would you kind of say is the goal of AI transformation for you all internally, and how would you even define it?
So I would say that we want to we want to win in the way that I told you. I mean, we want to win in experience. Let's say be the best in experience. So AI transformation for me, it's like a means to an end. The end is to win, and we
Mm,
have to use AI in a way that it makes us win. It's a tool that is so powerful that it's impossible to win without it. So even from the very beginning, we embraced it with a lot of strengths. We tried a lot. We made a lot of mistakes, but we tried in an efficient way, probably. But with that in mind, with how we use this to be the best,
mm.
and we're still trying completely.
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense. So you mentioned it was kind of a journey, right? So at the beginning, probably you and the other leaders were like, okay, this obviously we should try to use generative AI in this experience because, as you mentioned, it helps you win and it helps you sort of improve the experience overall. What was that journey like? So what was the first thing you tried? What do you think worked well and didn't work well? And like, how did you kind of iterate from there?
So we before, let's say before November 2022, that is the key moment, let's say. We also had workflows and some bots. We were already handling some cases, let's say, in an automated way. So when all this came out, I don't know, in the well, in the first month, I was off because I had my daughter. But in the second month, I think we started thinking about how this could be different. And the first thing we tested was automated workflows. Let's say that idea of having the workflow, but the agent interpreting the workflow, and we could do it in the end, but we tried a lot. We battled a lot with that, maybe for a year before we had something usable, something that gave value to the customer. And then in the second or third year, I think we started working with that idea of different agents and an orchestrator, and then a super agent with tools and MCBs. But I think that there wasn't a moment where the organization had to choose between going deep with this and not going. We always knew we need to go very very deep with this.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's great. No, I think that's something we resonated with from the very beginning as well, where you're already like fully bought in with Gen AI. There was no sort of discussion like, oh, should it be AI or not? It's more of just the actual path to get there,
That
right?
Decagon was born with this, with this, I think, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So that's a great transition into sort of maybe I'd love to hear actually because I haven't heard this story directly from you. What was the sort of story around you using Decagon for the first time? What was the setup before that? And what was kind of the perspective from your side of like, okay, we have this new solution. Like, how do we test if it's successful
Mhm.
or not? And what were the reactions? Maybe we start there.
Perfect. So we have a special, let's say, a channel that is a 0800. It's like a number that you call in Brazil for Mercado Pago. That is our fintech business that is dedicated to specific issues like fraudulent transactions or security or login, something like that, where the speed of response is super important. And it's a very, let's say, inefficient because people call and we don't know why they are calling. We don't know who they are. So it's super inefficient and it's super expensive because we need very fast response time. So we need to have a lot of idleness. I don't know if it's the correct word, but we have to have representatives waiting for the call, and that is super expensive. So it's a relatively small channel, and we never paid a lot of attention to it. So we left it there, and it was a super expensive channel, super bad experience because it was like the let's say the 90s IVR. that you say, press one if you want to talk about your card, press two if you were logged out of your account, something like that. So it was all the worst. Let's say the super expensive, bad experience, inefficient, and all that. And we couldn't bring it to the AI world, let's say, because our AI solution was chat only, not voice. So what stood out about Decagon is that you had already implemented voice solutions and you had all the speech patterns, like how do you restart, how do you pause, how do you interrupt, the user interrupts you. And when I saw that in the demo, I thought that it would be a very good fit with this channel. That's where everything started with Liam from your team giving us that demo and showing us the product.
Amazing. During that evaluation, what else were you kind of looking for? So you mentioned voice obviously is super important. It has to be a very natural sounding, Portuguese and be able to kind of flex around in different, variations in the conversation, right? Interruptions, background noise, etc. So that was one important piece. What were the other important aspects of the evaluation for that you looked at from
Yeah,
your
that's great. So the other part, I would say there were two more. One was that we could have a visibility of what was happening inside those calls, mainly because those were calls that were not transcribed. So we know why people contact us for the main channels, but for that channel specifically, we didn't know very much about what was happening there. And there were thousands of calls that we were not using to improve our products. So that was one thing. And the other thing that I remember we talked with Liam at the beginning was we were looking for a partner that could move at high speed, let's say, and that could help us implement something in a couple of weeks or maybe 10, 12 weeks. We could have something already on the ground and testing and with real users using it.
I want to double click on that first thing. So you mentioned visibility being very important. Why is visibility so important before? What were sort of the bottlenecks previously? And when you think about visibility into the conversations, like what are you trying to get out of it? What is the difference maker for you that makes visibility such an important factor?
Yeah, it's super important. I was saying at the beginning that I want to be the best at NPS, relational NPS, and the only way to do it, or the way I think is the most important way to do it, is to improve your product based on customer feedback, probably every week or even every day. So to do that, you have to know what your customers are complaining about and know their pains. And even though we had some other contacts that we were listening to and understanding about this, we didn't have a lot of information. And the information we had was not completely correct because, for example, some person says, I have a problem with my card. They press number 4, and we have that as a card problem. But maybe the problem wasn't with his card, it was with his security factors, let's say. But the card was not working because the security factors weren't. So we had a lot of a few information and not with a lot of mistakes in the information, and that didn't help us improve. So we started with your product to look at the insights. We saw a lot of cases, for example, with face authentication, with POS devices, some cases that we weren't looking carefully at the beginning, and we started improving the products.
Yeah, no, that resonates because, obviously, as you know, we think a lot about visibility, and one of the core concepts is, Gen AI, of course, is very helpful with the actual voice agent and the agent that interacts with customers, but it is also very helpful on the back end to analyze the conversations and produce more visibility, right? Because the conversations they're like just text transcripts and this unstructured data. And if you can use language models to pull out more insights across those, and like you said, what are the topics that people are talking about? What are interesting insights across, what's going well, what's not going well? Is there this new trend that spiked recently? There's a lot to be gleaned there. So I think we're super aligned there. The last question I had about the build out is so from your perspective, obviously it's a large organization. How do you all think about what role the different teams play. Like what role should engineering be playing in terms of, maintaining the AI? What role does CX play? What role does, operations, et cetera? How do you think about like long term as you maintain the AI? Like who should own what?
To be honest, I think the roles are starting to get a little bit more gray. Let's
Hmm.
say they are blurry. Let's say because we are starting to see some product people getting a little bit more into, let's say, not coding, but getting a feature almost into production. We are starting to see some people from UX designers that maybe they are pushing some changes into product. It's starting. I won't say it's already done, but the roles are a little bit blurry today. And I think I would like to know also your thoughts. It will be more like this in a couple of
Yeah.
months, maybe.
Yeah, the reason I ask is that that's one of our big theses as well, where one of the main effects of Gen AI is that it kind of democratizes a lot of different skills across various teams. And so, like you said, right, you have less technical folks being able to ship code or be technical. And the same thing in our space, right? It used to be that only certain roles could come in and like build the agent and tweak things because it's very complex and you have to do a lot of configuration. Not necessarily the case anymore because you have these powerful Gen AI agents that can respond to natural language and both in terms of talking with a customer, but also in the building process. And so a big part of our goal is how can you build a product that continues to democratize the ability to build and iterate on and analyze the agent because the tools are a lot easier. So
Wow.
yeah, in agreement there. So now let's fast forward. We've now kind of been partnering together for some time, and it's been an awesome partnership. How would you describe the results in terms of the outcomes and both in terms of tangible outcomes, but also just in terms of how your team has operated now versus pre a generative AI solution?
Yeah, so I think working together, we were able to deploy a very good agent. We changed from that, let's say, outdated IVR to this new experience where there's a human-like agent saying, "Hello, I'm your intelligent Mercado Pago agent. How can I help you?" That changed a lot. We are also understanding why people call, what I was saying. So I think that makes a lot of difference. And I think we are working together in the I think the main two KPIs that we need to still move. That is one is what we call deflection. That is how many calls end up with the digital agent and don't go to a human agent. And the other one is CSAT. That is the experience that people report from talking to the agent. I think we have improved a lot in the last couple of months. So I think we have been working with the agent live 3 or 4 months, and I'm seeing well, I have Belen from my team that is always sharing with me the updates, and I see we are improving every couple of weeks. We are improving. Still, I think there's a lot of way to
Yeah,
go. There's a part from your end, and there's a part also from our end, basically giving you more tools to solve more cases.
awesome. Yeah, totally agree. Was there like a specific anecdote or example where you saw, oh, this was a great conversation that was not possible before, or this was a great like visibility insight that we didn't know before?
Completely. I wrote down a couple of examples because I thought that there would be a question like this, and I liked very much this one that was shared with me a couple of weeks ago. That there was a guy that couldn't understand what was happening, so he described it to the agent saying that there's a woman holding a phone, there's something red. I don't understand it, and the agent understood what was happening there. There was a privacy consent screen that was there, and the agent guided him through it. He solved the case, and the guy gave us the best CSAT score and said, "I didn't need anything else. The virtual assistant was the perfect 10." So that kind of experience we are seeing some other experience where people say this agent is better than a human agent. So we're starting to see a couple of cases where it plays out incredibly.
Amazing. And if we look ahead forward, right? So you mentioned that two of the big goals: continuing to drive, deflection, resolution rates, and then continuing to drive CSAT and customer experience. Are there other either more like qualitative goals or any other goals for the customer experience broadly that you're excited about?
Yeah, yeah. So if I look ahead a little bit longer, let's say maybe years, I see a world where most inquiries, and when I say most, I say 95% of the inquiries are solved by agents. So that changed a lot because people will have immediate answers, very precise. We have some issues now in all the agents that we have some issues with understanding the problem. I think in a couple of, let's say, years, just not to be very very bold, maybe 1 year, that won't be a problem. I think the agents will understand the context, the issue very, very well, and it will be able to provide very precise answers. And that will free up a lot of times of our human agents to handle very complex cases. Maybe we will end up with cases that take 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes. I don't know, but that trend of trying to put down the average handling time, I think it will reverse a lot, and we will have a lot of cases with a lot of empathy, with a lot of root cause analysis with the customer. So I think in the next, let's say, 2 years, it will change a lot how we see customer experience, how we see customer service.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Any
we
thoughts on that? Because you're working with a lot of companies also.
yeah. I mean, from our perspective, it's the reason why we use the term AI concierge a lot, right? Like often when we first meet someone, we'll use the AI customer service agent because it's really easy to understand what exactly the AI does. But really, at the core, is the AI is having a conversation with the customer, and it kind of serves as like a conversational UI almost for the brand. And so the
Completely.
goal eventually is, like you said, it should feel like a concierge, right? It's not just about deflection. It's like, in the future, you should be having conversations that you're not even having right now because the AI is personalized and it's smart and it can even be proactive. So that's why we really think about the concierge layer as like a new way to interact with the brand. In the same way, when originally we went from web to mobile, that was like a new UI and everyone built mobile apps. This is another one. So that's something we're excited about. And then for businesses like yours, you could even take that a step further and just kind of think of it almost like agentic commerce, right? Where it's an AI concierge, but people can have conversations with it about anything, about buying things, about sales, about just like recommendations. And obviously, you have to take it step by step, right? So it's not just day one, you just throw everything at it. But once you have the foundation and starting on the customer experience side, I think that's something that we can all build towards.
Yeah, I love that idea of concierge. What I'm seeing in, let's say, in agentic commerce, what I'm seeing mostly right now is on the discovery side. So
Mm.
the agentics, the agents are helping you discover products, search products, and all that. But I think at some point it will evolve, and it will be like an agent that helps you through all the buying flow, let's say, and then it tells you, I don't know, this will arrive on Tuesday afternoon and you're not home, so let's find someone to receive the package for you and give him the code. And then in the unboxing moment, it will say, I don't know, check this and this before you unbox it, because if not, you cannot return it. And then if you need to return it, it will help you. I think all the journey would really use could really use a good concierge. That would be amazing. I think it will come someday.
Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah, I hope so as well. Well, Alejandro, thank you so much for joining us today. It's obviously been a pleasure working with you, and really appreciate you chatting with me today. Is there anything sort of that you still want to share in terms of experiences or any insights with the for the broader audience?
Jesse, no, it was really a pleasure from my side also, and I hope that still working together we can make these ideas that we already shared a reality in not so long.
Amazing. Thank you so much.